Ladies and gentlemen, I am here today to speak to you about mouse and keyboard as it relates in opposition to controller and Omni movement in Black Ops 6 multiplayer, or just multiplayer, or just Black Ops 6 in general, I guess I should say. Also, double Semtex kill. We love the pop. Oh! Anyways, okay, hold on. You definitely jumped off. Alright, so Omni movement, forward, backwards, left, right. All standard things. Sprinting side to side, definitely new. Being able to dive and change direction, you know, dive and look backwards. My favorite thing is to be able to jump around a corner like this. You know, I feel like being able to camera people like this is quite a good thing. Being able to not get sniped in midair while being a dolphin, you know, that's great. But also, you know, being able to slide and ADS around corners. That's also a very nice thing, very useful feature, you know? It's just kind of fun. But again, I digress. The abilities that Omni movement gives to the player not only are, you know, wonderful for what you can do in gunfights, but it is also something that surprisingly feels natural. You know, honestly, they were talking about Omni movement, they were showing it off in the trailers and whatnot before BO6 beta came out. And I was like, you know, this seems weird. It doesn't seem Call of Duty-like to me. And then I have had the luxury to be able to play with it for, you know, over 20 hours over the past few days. Omni movement, I think, is a great addition to multiplayer. Now, people are going to be like, but the TikTok kids that, you know, are on crack and constantly moving around their mouse and you know, oh, yep, we're throwing a trophy system. Oh, yep, dive. Yep, okay, yep, can't see what's going on. Yep, sliding. Yep. Yeah, that doesn't make you better at Call of Duty. So now that we've talked about Omni movement, I should also mention that I spent the entirety of the beta split between mouse and keyboard and controller because I saw what Tim the Tatman said, and I believe he said it while playing at COD Next. He thinks that he's going to be on controller this year because it just ain't working on mouse and key. Is this because Tim the Tatman is a boomer? I don't necessarily know. I don't even necessarily consider him a boomer. I just wanted to say it because I thought it was funny. Anyways, the truth of the matter is when it comes to mouse and keyboard, you have the ability to do more things at the same time and use more appendages, you know, more fingers to have more control over what it is that you're doing than you would on a standard Microsoft or Sony controller. I personally have always played on Xbox. I use an Xbox One controller, and for the longest time, I used it while plugged in when playing even on PC. Now, here's the thing. Over the past couple of months, I have decided to attempt to make a switch to mouse and keyboard for this title of Call of Duty. And I would consider myself 90% proficient in mouse and keyboard as it relates to my, you know, skill ceiling on controller. The biggest issue that I, you know, find myself struggling with between inputs is aim. I can aim much better and more consistently on controller than I can on mouse and key. And again, that's for two reasons. One, I've been playing on controller for over a decade and it's not been all that long since switching to mouse and key. The other bit of that is the fact that, you know, mouse and key does not have aim assist. Now, there are a couple of things to mention as it relates to BO6 and aim assist on controller. I believe it's within 3 meters or something. You know, when you're really close to people, aim assist doesn't kick in. And it used to be this horrible thing, and I despised it even as a controller player, where you would run around and you would get, you know, you'd run past an enemy and you would have this weird drag of your screen towards that person, and that's your auto aim just kicking in. I really dislike that. What I will say is that since learning how rotational aim assist works, controller is absolutely godlike in the aim department. Microsoft controller, stock, no keys on the back. We got the Cold War control freaks on, personally my favorite, with the black precision ring. Again, that's the hardest precision ring that exists out there as a control freak product, as far as I am currently aware. Now, what I will say is instantly, this feels like home. This feels like home to me. Also, you know, I would also consider that normal. One thing I can say that is a big pain in my ass whenever I am playing on controller. There's so many times when I attempt to sprint, or like, you know, when I attempt to sprint or crouch when I'm trying to slide or do something else, and I accidentally end up just crouching. Again, it's one of those things where it's due to, you know, the delay in, you know, when you change the input. Something that I noticed only really ever happening on controller. Also, if you look at how steady the aim was, rotational aim assist. If If you notice when I'm on mouse and keyboard, I'm all, you know, you'll see my little reticle, you know, whatever the actual like aim piece is on the site. You'll notice that that is a lot more moving around. When you watch it on controller and you look closely, and maybe I'll even do like a zoom in to kind of show the difference. Like there's a massive difference in the stability, what it looks like on controller as opposed to mouse and key. One thing that I've kind of noticed, if you want to be good in Omni movement on controller, again, you can't really dive right or left and it feel natural, because nobody's really kind of like full tilt strafing left. You know, I've always noticed that I'll like start moving forward and then we kind of move around, then do that sort of thing if you have to. Yeah, but like if you're trying to switch position midair, it's almost always going to be best on mouse and key. Just being able to start the actual input, much easier, much faster, harder to master. That is kind of the whole thing. If you're good on, you know, mouse and key to aim, that is really the biggest, you know, kind of skill gap, I believe. If you are proficient on mouse and key and you can stand up to controller players' aim and everything, and you have, you know, somewhat decent movement, you know, you're able to use the Omni movement and advanced functions that kind of come with it. You're able to understand it, be proficient. I don't think there is going to be a massive difference as long as you put in the time. Because let's be real, like I've mentioned, we can dive all sorts of different directions, do in-air 360s if we want. You can lay down, roll around, do all sorts of weird, cool stuff, right? You can slide. Now, we've seen sliding. We've seen diving. You haven't seen diving to the left. You haven't seen, you know, people trying to bunny hop around and do all sorts of crazy shit. But, you know, once you're used to that difference, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. No, I genuinely feel like as soon as you get, you know, used to the differences, there isn't going to be a problem. And I think that might be what Tim Tatman was running into. Also, the fact, if that clip, which I believe it was, taken at COD Next, where he's like, bro, I don't know if I can do this mouse and key thing. You got to remember, everyone who is there, they're either someone who plays Call of Duty for like a living, essentially, you know, professional players, content creators, or just like famous people. You know, 90% of the competition that he was facing at COD Next is like the upper echelon, the upper 10%. And then you got people like Shotzi, Celium. I can't remember all the pro players that were there because honestly, I didn't follow with everyone. I'm obviously wearing an OptiCat, and you know why that is. But all that to be said, I don't think his opinion at that moment was representative of like how everyone should feel about Omni movement. It's a new addition to movement systems, right? We have some different variations. We've had advanced movement in the past. You know, there's an adjustment between BO4 to MW 2019. There's an adjustment between Call of Duty Ghosts to Advanced Warfare. There's an adjustment between, you know, Advanced Warfare to BO3 to BO3 to IW. Minute differences in all these different movement patterns. We've all survived. We haven't said, oh no, it's impossible to play on mouse and keyboard as it relates to controller or, you know, anything else. The aim assist argument is always going to be there. You know, controller is just gifted a, you know, some say unfair advantage. I don't know if I can necessarily say unfair. You know, after all these years, if you took aim assist away from, you know, the controller players, mouse and key would just genuinely ruin the lives of everyone. Mouse and key just will always have a higher skill ceiling or a higher ability ceiling, in my opinion, than controller will. Even if you have a scuff with, you know, mappable buttons and things of that nature, does it certainly make it nice and better to have that kind of a controller? I believe it does, and I would love to myself. Again, Scuff, if you're listening, hit me up with an Impact Pro, or you know, I would love to run one of your beautifully crafted controllers and, you know, give a review and let the people know that, you know, it is as essential, if not more, you know, than the controlled freaks I've been rocking the past 2 years, right? All of that to be said, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking at using controller or mouse and key in this new Call of Duty, that is Black Ops 6, one, you're going to be able to see more stuff in the open beta. You'll be able to make that decision for yourself. But as someone who has put in over 20 hours, I have used each input evenly across the entirety of this beta so far. And I'm new to mouse and key. I don't think that you're really going to have that big of a struggle or a difference. I will say Black Ops 6 feels really good with the Omni movement. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Deceiver. I hope you're having a great day. Do me a favor, hit that like button. It's like crack for that YouTube algorithm. Helps me out greatly as a small content creator. I am trying to hit 10K within the life cycle of Black Ops 6. I would love to be a YouTuber one day. I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I hope you guys can see that. Here's the subscribe button. It's right next to that like button. Feel free to boop that as well. You know, it's right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you. I'll leave you. God bless, and I will see you in the next one.